The flame-grilled Whopper from Burger King. The most food-filling burger.
Is it, though?
Is that?
Yes. A slightly better version of you.
I don't understand.
Just like the new Whopper that's juicier and tastier than ever before. Same, but hits different. That's my line now.
Oh, sorry.
Whopper never tasted so good. Order now on the Burger King app.
This is the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Order the ultimate food satisfaction with the flame grilled bacon double cheeseburger XL. Order your Burger King delivery now.
Let's go!
So it only lasted 123 days. Rangers, who only 3 years ago had Giovanni van Bronckhorst as manager, 3 years ago just now. Then it was Michael Beale, then Philippe Clement, and then Barry for 3-4 months towards the end of last season, and Russell Martin. 7 defeats, 5 draws, 5 wins. And on a day when Celtic got a last-minute winner to stay close to Hearts at the top of the table, and Aberdeen 4-0 against Dundee, it was Falkirk 1, Rangers 1. That Barry, there was an inevitability about it. It was difficult to watch, and I think, did you feel for Russell Martin when he left by the side exit? Some of the fans were protesting, didn't want the bus to go. It was a sad end from a short time at Rangers.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, Paul, watching it, it was sad to see that obviously happen, but at the end of the day the results have just not been good enough, and the club have decided to make a decision late last night. I think it was 10 o'clock that it came out. You never like to see anybody lose their job. I think Russell admit himself that just didn't get enough wins in these 17 games, and unfortunately he loses his job. Now the thing that I'm interested in, Rangers have to make sure they get the right man for the job now. Was there any doubt that it was the right decision? Yeah, because listen, it's all about winning it at Rangers, and ultimately Russell never won enough games. You mentioned at the start, 5 wins, 5 draws, 7 defeats. It just wasn't good enough in the end, and unfortunately, as I said, the manager has to lose his job. Who's going to take over? That's the question. Barry, I got messages last night. Is Barry going to be on tomorrow night? You are here. Yeah. No, I'm here. I'm in a good place at the moment in time, Paul. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Listen, I had a great 3 months last year, but that's in the past. I'm back doing my ambassador role. I'm back in here. I do my column, so my life's good at this moment in time. It was down to 3 though just a few months ago. It was David Ancelotti, it was you, and it was Russell Martin. Part of you must think, guys, why didn't you let me continue? You know, you beat Mourinho, you beat Brendan Rodgers, the champion, at his own backyard at Celtic Park. Sure, there were some results that didn't go well. There's a fault line in that team that they lose when they're expected to win. But it's part of you. You're only human. You must have thought, if only I had the chance. Yeah, listen, I was disappointed for a week after it, but Paul, that's in the past. You need to move forward. And they made a decision with bringing Russell on, and I wanted Russell to be a real success. Rangers is my team. I want Rangers to be challenging. And unfortunately for Russell, it just didn't work out, and now Rangers are back to square one. The good thing is it's international break. I have got a bit of time, so I'm sure the powers above are sitting around a table at this moment in time, deciding what way they're going to go. Andy, Celtic legend, you played against Rangers many times, you've commentated now for a couple of decades. There's never been a time of turmoil like this for Rangers. This will be the 6th manager in less than 3 years.
Yeah, it was absolutely the right call for everyone, especially Russell Martin. I think his post-match analysis, no one could relate to it, not for the first time. And just the scenes of him trying to get away from the ground without any mishap from fans, it's a very ugly look. And so I don't know where Rangers turn from here, because I'm not sure there's anyone at the club that the supporters can identify with. If you had Andrew Kavanagh, if you'd Kevin Thelwell coming out to address the supporters, they just don't take them seriously enough just now. They've made a poor appointment. Having said that, you asked me, Paul, and I had spoken to Russell Martin a couple of times over the course of the last couple of years, doing post-match interviews with him, and I thought, he's a good manager. He's done some great stuff, especially at Southampton. I understood why he was looking for a bigger job, but it certainly didn't work out. And now, I think a title challenge is gone, And you wonder what sort of manager is going to come in now, because if you're taking over that club now and you look at the previous managers and how quickly the club have got rid of them, a lot will be done on the very detail of the contract.
Taylor's on, a Rangers fan, so too Robert. They say it has to be Steven Gerrard. Would he come back? Would he come back to Rangers, do you think?
I can see why, because he brought the title 55. Obviously he left and a lot of Rangers fans weren't happy. He's went on to Aston Villa, then he's went over to Saudi. I don't know the situation contractually, I think, in terms of tax or whatever, Paul, but look, he's a name that's been mentioned even before the season ended last season. So yeah, there's a number of managers, but the Rangers need to make sure they get this one right, because whoever comes in has to get the fans back on side, because the fans are clearly unhappy.
It was very much a team effort with Steven Gerrard. Gary McAllister was there, Michael Beale was there. They all had a big input, as well as Steven Gerrard, the name. And remember, it took him 3 seasons to get it right.
1 trophy in 9.
Well, all I was going to say was he was given time, and not. You can't say that about any other manager previously.
Going to go on the line to 08 08 17 17 700. Derek's on. Hi, Derek.
Hi, Paul. Andy, Barry. How are you?
How you doing,
Good
Derek?
evening.
Hi, Derek.
How are you? What do you feel?
I think it's been a couple of weeks too late that they get rid of him. I really do. But now they've got rid of him, who does Barry think will be the next Rangers manager? And you see Paul there about Steven Gerrard. People want to remember, see if the 9 in a row season wasn't stopped, Steven Gerrard wouldn't have been the Rangers manager for the 10 in a row season. It's a fact. Because people were turning on him. I remember I was at Ibrox and Rangers get beat to Hamilton 1-0, and people were screaming abuse at Steven Gerrard that night. I think people want to remember that I don't think he's that good a manager. I think he got away with it at Rangers.
I do remember that, Barry, when he was interviewed, and he did say, I think there was a break just after that, he said, I'm going to go away and think about it. Normally when a manager says that, when I heard that Steven Gerrard, I thought, you might not see him back. But then, things changed, and the following year he won the title. Derek's point, it's a good one. Sorry.
Would have won the title, Paul, if there were fans in the stadium?
Well, we'll never know.
When the pressure were right on.
I know. And you're Rangers daft, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Listen, I've been asked many a times today through text messages who you would want. There's obviously Gerrard's been mentioned, Sean Dyche has been mentioned. It just needs to be somebody, in my opinion, who identifies with the fans. Somebody who's going to be coming in. I know people are wanting a certain philosophy, but listen, at Rangers, I don't care what way you play, you have to win games, and unfortunately we've not won enough games this season.
Kevin Muscat as well.
Muscat's done a fantastic job over in Japan. He's won trophies. I think he's took him into the Asian Champions League. He's been mentioned in a number of occasions, Paul, when the manager's jobs come up. Again, he's another player that I played with. Muscat, very fiery customer, but listen, he knows the game, and he understands what's needed at Rangers. It's just going to be interesting to see who they pick, because this one has to be correct.
Derek, who would you go for?
David Muscat, or I quite like Danny Rolls, but I don't know if the job would maybe be too big for him. I quite like him actually. I follow Sheffield Wednesday, and I think he was harshly tweeted there. Like, obviously the money situation, that's why he left. But I would be one of them too. I don't think Sean Dyche, because I think they've got to read the room this time, Paul. I don't think some of the fans would buy into him.
It's going to be difficult.
I think
the only thing I would say, sorry, Derek, the only thing I would say is that right now, whoever takes over, honestly, my own view of that squad, despite the club having spent a fair amount of money in the summer, I think it's a really poor squad, and I think any sort of title challenge is gone. Of course, you can win a trophy. A lot of clubs can win a trophy, and Rangers are in a semi-final in a few weeks. I imagine that a manager will be in by the time that Rangers play Dundee United after the Ibrox after the international break. I imagine someone will be in place by then. But this is a really poor squad. When I look at the team yesterday and just some of the basics at throw-ins, the amount of times that Falkirk, I didn't know what club I was watching that had spent all this money and it had players on huge salaries, because Falkirk were time and time again getting in behind, getting crosses into the box, and arguably over the 90 minutes looked the better team.
So do the owners look at the football department? Kevin Thelwell is there as the director of football operations or whatever. It sounded as though last week he was going to bring his son in on recruitment. He's 26. By the way, he may turn out to be an absolute genius. But you do wonder if the Americans will look and say, we need to look at the fundamental. There's a possibility of change there, because they were part
I think
of it.
so. I mean, Paul, whatever you think of Thelwell's son, it doesn't strike me as being the most professional way to go about getting someone for a very important role at the club. The son of the guy who's already in there, it's not got a good look, and I'm not convinced that they examined every single possibility and got the best possible candidate.
The Daily Record went on that this morning as well in the column. Stephen's on. Thanks, Derek, for your call. 0808 17 17 700. Hi, Stephen.
Hi there, guys. How you doing, Barry, Paul,
Yeah.
and Andy, and who's on that show
Good.
tonight?
Thank you.
Hi, Stephen.
I'm fine.
Did Peter Lawwell not bring in a family member to the Celtic board?
Well, there was Mark, his son, was there. You're right. He was head of recruitment for a period. I'm not sure who brought him in, but
and the same thing
But-
applies.
Aye, Neppard. I know where you're going, but I'm just saying there's...
Yep.
But I like to correct you. He says there was 6 managers that were shown the door at Glasgow Rangers.
No, I didn't. I said there's been 5 managers in the 3 years. This will be number 6.
And, you
And
named
one of them,
Barry, but
Barry was interim.
He was an interim manager.
We're aware of that, Stephen. I said that. So,
Right,
right, what's your point?
right.
Are you just here to pick? You just here to pull this up and stuff, Stephen, or do you want to make a valid contribution? Be lovely to hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just picking up
No,
the
Stephen,
fact.
I've just told you. I said he was interim. Right. What's your point,
No,
Stephen?
he didn't use that word. I think if he actually...
Stephen, I did. I can't be bothered with this, Stephen. There's too much on the go. What's your point?
I'm not here, but I'm just saying. But what I would like to say is Russell Martin they should have kept Russell Martin.
What? Why?
They should have kept him, because I'll tell you the reason why. Because David Murray bought over Glasgow Rangers for John Lawrence, and Graham Souness they brought in as a manager.
David Holmes brought him in.
what?
Yeah, David Holmes.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. And David Holmes, they were all in there. And Graham Souness is the worst start of his Rangers career than Russell Martin, and they kept him. And Rangers, look at the history there. And then we'll go back to Man United as well, like Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the worst record that he had, 2 years. Why are we sacking managers on the basis of fans dictating? The fans are dictating here.
And that is a good point. Yeah, because Rangers did say this is going to be long term. They can't keep
Correct.
hiring and firing. So, Stephen, I think that is a good point.
Well,
But,
mate,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I agree with part of the point that you're making there, Stephen, about, listening to supporters who I can remember listening to Rangers fans on here some years ago. They weren't happy with Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. They wanted him out the door.
kept him.
And by all accounts, when you look back on it, someone who delivered a trophy, someone who was in a European final and almost won it, came very close, someone who qualified for the Champions League. To get rid of someone like that so quickly during a bad spell, maybe not the best call.
I'll tell you though, and I was around then with Graham Souness coming in, player manager, came from Sampdoria and Serie A, as we know. He was a superstar. It was a different situation. Russell Martin had a good record. He did well on the way up in management, but it was different. Graham Souness was a new era behind the scenes as well. Stephen, thanks for your call. Here's Darren, a Rangers fan. Good evening, Darren.
How are we doing, Paul, Andy and Barry?
How you doing, Dan?
Hi, Darren.
I know, man. Just what Barry was saying 5 minutes ago about the style and philosophers and this and that. Rangers don't need that. I don't care what style football we play. Winning football is all 99% fans care about. As long as you win, get the 3 points. Playing well is a bonus. It's a subsidiary. It's a bonus if you play well, but you want the 3 points to see a winning team on the park. Now, board after board have accepted mediocrity at Rangers with the appointments like Russell Martin. I know Philip Clement won things, but it wasn't. He accepted mediocrity with performances on the park. He went to go through the players. We've seen a change when Barry came in. He kind of gave the guys a boot where it needed, and it showed on the park. So we need a guy like Barry or a Kevin Muscat or a Sean Dyche, guys that are pragmatic and they know how to set a team up, not just play the one way. So in my choice of manager, I would love to see Barry back in the hot seat. I definitely would, but if not, Muscat or a man like Dyche, that's who I'd go for.
All right. I mean, I was about to say Barry's only 10 yards away, but even when Barry came in, remember the first game at Kilmarnock, you're thinking, right, you're going to see something. They were 2 down in 20 minutes, and I know you turned it round, but you must have thought, what? You know, you came in, it can't be about the desire, what the badge is all about, and they were 2 down. There's a fault line in that team, although there's so many new players.
Yeah, there's a lot of new players. Yeah. I think 13 new players.
30 million spent in the summer.
A lot of 20 net. Yep. So there's been a big investment into the first team squad. Yeah, look, I don't care what way you play. I know you'll have people talking about they've got certain philosophies and what way they play out for the back or whatever. It's all about finding a way to win a game, Paul. It's simple as that. And unfortunately for Russell, it's not been enough this season. 17 games is not a long time. But Rangers are not had a good start in Europa League and certainly not a good start in the league.
Darren wants you back. If Rangers said to you, Barry, there's the job.
I'm just more
job.
interested in Rangers getting this appointment right, Paul. They have to get this one right.
But if they feel you're the right person, it's a permanent job.
They'd need to ask a question first.
Yeah. Darren?
Another thing, like, anybody that comes in, they've got to immerse themselves in the club, get what the club means to people. I know this thing about the suit and blah de blah, this and that. It shouldn't be that you wear a suit. They should just do something like that. Now, immerse yourself in the club. This is what it means to the supporters. It's first impressions and how they think that the club means to them is what the manager means. They're representing the club. They've got to immerse themselves in the traditions. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want us to go down the foreign route either. I'd like to see a British manager in place. Or even if we do go down the foreign route, we need to surround them with Scottish coaches or people that have been at Rangers, you know, like Kevin Thomas or Stephen Naismith or anything like that. People that have been coaches but they know what Rangers is all about.
What is different about it, Barry? You've been in that hot seat. What is different? Because, you know, people will say it's like no other place, Glasgow. If you're one of the big two, what does that look like?
In terms of being in the
as the
position,
manager,
there's so much pressure on you. I'm just lucky that I get brought up in it and I understood it. Obviously, being a player, then being a manager. I do honestly think the issue is there's not enough homegrown Scottish, and it doesn't need to come through the academy. I honestly believe there's not enough. I did say British, but I'll say Scottish. I honestly believe I've not got enough of that.
See, David Watson scored for Kelly. He was one of the ones on your list.
Listen, he's a player that stood out for now a couple of seasons at Kilmarnock. There's a lot, Paul. I've always said that I honestly believe there's an ignorance to Scottish players. There's players, in my opinion, that can do a job at Rangers and do a good job at that.
When you look back on his short time, Russell Martin, he had a problem with Nico Raskin, which I think we all, spoke about it for so long, and eventually put him back in the team. And I know there was a warm embrace when he went back into the team and played well, but that was a problem for a while. James Tavernier, the captain, was left out, and now he's back in as captain, as leader. They've got a problem up front because you've got a guy who was signed for $8 million, and
he's on the bench.
He's on the bench, but what have you seen for that? I mean, just the very basics. What have you seen where you think, God, he looks really good? He
hit the bar the other day, didn't he?
He looks as though he could play every week and score regularly. I'm not convinced. Miovski, you've still to get the best out of him. He's not quite at his sharpest. So what I'm saying is, any new manager coming in, you need to get a better tune out of these players. But I'll say it again, I think overall it's a poor squad, Darren.
24 hours ago, it seems a long time ago, but he was still the manager or the head coach at this point, and he spoke about the philosophy. This was after the result against Falkirk.
This thing here at this club, and I hear everyone saying it all the time, you just have to win. You also have to have a way to win and a way to learn and grow and develop. You can't just win sustainably, in my opinion. You can't just win. Also, you can't just win if you don't have like a team of seasoned men with thousands of games under their belt collectively that know and understand. We haven't got that. We've got a lot of young players that are growing into it, and they need a lot of help. My job is to keep trying to help them, and I'll do it until I'm told not to.
Barry, what's winning?
No, you have to just win.
Yeah. You've been saying that for weeks.
You have to just win.
You have to. Darren, thanks so much for your call. Lots of Rangers fans calling in. 0808 17 17 700. Looking at Celtic as well in a moment too, but it's mainly Rangers at the moment. Celtic left it late. They've been a bit dull, Andy, haven't they? But they got, and it was Dyson Maeda, and there's a great tribute to him from the manager afterwards. He popped up and scored.
This is what you do when you win league titles. I mean, I only won one, and I can remember so often getting a winner with the last kick of the ball. It's the best thing for the team, and you can imagine getting into that dressing room, and it's not a draw, it's a victory. You're so relieved you've not been at your best, but you get it done. That could be a huge 3 points for Celtic, because it keeps them with that winning mentality very late on.
Come on, Andy, you've presented Scottish Sport. What would you be asking Barry if you had him in the hot seat
Do you
tonight?
know what?
Yeah.
He made my Sunday afternoon even worse when you see him scoring the last kick of the ball.
Right?
But that's what good teams do. They go until the end. Were Celtic great yesterday? No, they weren't. Credit to Motherwell. But you keep going, and eventually you get that goal, and they get this could be a very, very important 3 points for Celtic.
I would also credit Motherwell. But the second goal that they lose, my goodness, it is so painful to see that when you're trying to. That's not playing out from the back. That's so dangerous inside your own 18-yard box. Come on, that is overplay if ever there was an example of it.
Yeah, but sometimes just put your foot through the ball.
Yeah. Dreadful. But it gave Celtic the equaliser, and then of course you've got the crowd chasing.
Did you notice? Did you see the Motherwell players' reaction as well?
What was it?
No, they never went mental at the goalkeeper, because obviously that's the way they're told to do it.
Yeah. That's the new way. It drives the fans nuts, doesn't it?
Yeah, sometimes. Listen, I'm all for playing, but play at the right times. But if that ball goes back to the goalkeeper, you have got to be conscious of what's run about you. If not, bang, it goes.
The thing that also came to my mind when that goal went in that Celtic scored, I can remember Motherwell doing that against Rangers at Fir Park. And Rangers couldn't take advantage. So just those little differences. You know, Rangers got a point at Fir Park and Celtic got 3 points. They did take advantage.
See when it works, it looks brilliant.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. But there is times where you have to say, right, you've got to make a decision, on-field decision, where just get it 60 yards up the pitch. Get it away from the danger area.
Glasgow, what are you thinking? It's Edinburgh, top of the table. They were bottom this time last year. Hearts, top of the table, because they got a 91st minute goal in a dull derby, but right at the end, and Derek McKenna's great tribute to him, but Craig Halkett popped up. 0808 17 17 700. Who's going to be the next Rangers manager?
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Try the new and improved Whopper, bursting with flavour and juicier than ever.
Let's go!
Paul Cooney with Barry Ferguson and Andy Walker here after a weekend when...
I liked that early. You were fired up early.
You like that when I get a bit annoyed, you know.
Yeah.
Listen, Stephen, he did make a good point about, Graham Souness.
I thought his point was spot on.
It was. I know I got a wee bit nippy. No, I did say the interim period of Barry Ferguson, and then he did. He's the one. Somebody else was saying, Darren, why is Barry not there as well? With Steven Gerrard, look, I'm straight down the middle. They go on about Steven Gerrard. They want Steven Gerrard. They forgot that he was thinking about his future. What was going to happen when they couldn't beat Hamilton? Remember a bad result with Hearts.
I seen Stephen do an interview saying that he was quite comfortable in his life. He's enjoying the quiet life because he's been in management for so long. So I don't know the situation because I think he's still in the Middle East.
Yep, I think he is. Probably tax reasons.
Yeah. But listen, don't be surprised. There'll be a number of managers already have their CVs in at Rangers.
Granted,
it's a job you want. Even they're going through such a tough time, it's still a brilliant job to get.
And will they still want it, Barry, given the attention?
Course.
Listen to Simon Jordan and Jim White this morning. Simon, who was in town the other day at the Chris Boyd lunch,
Yep.
charity lunch, which I think raised
I hear it was
£90,000.
very successful,
It was
yeah.
great. So he's
Great.
been there, and he said, but the way the fans were reacting, the kind of mob rule, is not the right thing. It's not the way to protest yesterday at Livingston. At Falkirk. I know it's a lot of young fans, and I know it's a difficult one because you don't want to fall out with fans there, but come on, a bit of decency.
They're
Russell,
just frustrated,
yeah.
Paul. They're just frustrated
Yeah.
by the results since the start of the season.
What do you think Andrew Kavanagh feels about it all? Because ultimately it's the 49ers who'll be looking at it.
Well, you had a short list last time round,
Yeah.
and Barry was on it, didn't get it.
Yeah.
Would you go back to Ancelotti? What's he doing now if he was on a short list?
That's the son of. I mean, he may turn out
He's
to be
managing in
great, but-
Brazil.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
imagine you invite offers. I mean, will Rangers go and buy someone out of their contract? Maybe they will. I'm sure they've got the money. Would they want Derek McInnes if you want a Scottish feel to it? I don't know.
Would he go?
But would he go? But you imagine that there will be some really big names that would fancy coming to Scotland. But I'll say it again, with Rangers having get rid of so many managers so quickly in the last 3 or 4 years, the contract the next manager will sign will be, if you get rid of me within a year, 100% of my money up front, please.
Look at the money Rangers have paid out on managers in recent years because it hasn't worked out.
Whoever the agent is
Yeah.
of the next manager, they're in the driving seat.
Yeah, I think it's the only job when you do get sacked, you get paid off.
No.
As a
It must
football
be.
manager.
Yeah.
See, if you get sacked, you're clearly not doing a good enough job. So why should you get paid up?
Why can you not move from club to club with a huge transfer fee?
Yep.
Would Derek McInnes move, for example, with Hearts at top of the
I
table?
think he's at
Yeah.
a good place just now, Derek, in terms of Tony Bloom, his investment into the club. I think Hearts in a good place. Will they challenge this year? Well, clearly they're showing signs that they maybe could, but still a long way to go.
Lots of calls coming on 0808 17 17 700. We're here with our friends at Burger King. Paul's on, a big Rangers fan. Hi, Paul. Good evening. You're through. Cutting to the chase, Paul. Who would you go for?
I would probably give Barry another crack at it, in the sense that maybe back in this time and give the guys money at the next transfer window and see what kind of happens. I like what Elliot Dodson had said about getting that kind of Scottish spine through. I think we've been lacking that for many a year at Rangers, Paul. That's what I think. And plus, knowing the club, because see, yesterday, Paul, when the show I backed Russell Martin, I said,
Yep.
I'll back every Rangers guy.
You did.
But see, if I was a journalist that day, yesterday, what really annoyed me, and I know annoyed a lot of my fans and Rangers fans, is Russell Martin's attitude when he said, it's not just about, I think you've raised it there, about not just about the result. It is about the result now.
Yeah.
If you ask true legends like Graham Souness, Walter Smith, Bill Struth, Scott Simon, John Wallace, see if you came out with that comment, Barry, what do you think Walter Smith would have said to Russell Martin at that? Because he's a Rangers fan.
Yep.
That's
Well, I don't think I could say on air, Paul.
No, exactly.
The only thing I
What?
would say is every manager I played with would have the same philosophy, but they do want to win with a bit of style.
Yeah.
It's not your go-to defence. It's not just about winning and, we want to win with a philosophy and all the rest of it. I totally get that. But Tommy Burns, he wanted to play with a bit of style, and eventually he got there. Billy McNeil was the same. He had so many flair players. So he just didn't word it right, and it hasn't gone down well again.
The bookies don't often get it wrong, and this morning the favourite was Kevin Muscat. So I know we talked about him earlier, Barry. Steven Gerrard's name's in there. You're in there, near the top, but not right at the top.
If only we knew someone who knew Kevin Muscat.
Who knew Barry? Indeed, I know. So his last game, I think, is November the 23rd.
Yeah, I think
we
his
have been
contract
checking.
runs out at, I think, December.
Right, okay.
I think I'm right in saying that. I think they've got 3 or 4 games left of their current season.
What are you doing between now and December?
I'm just enjoying my life, just chilling out.
I guess if there's a pathway where they say, right, somebody's coming in who would be interim.
But I do think they need to get a manager in for the Dundee United game.
Oh.
I wouldn't wait about.
Yep, hold on, Paul. Yep.
I think you have to get a manager in
Sure.
for the Dundee United game,
got-
because if you
right.
look at the fixtures that are coming up, Dundee United, then you've got the Europa League Bran,
right,
then you've got
Bran,
Kilmarnock at home, Hibs away, Aberdeen at home, Celtic in the semi-final of the Cup, and then away to Roma.
Roma. Wow.
So that's a tough schedule coming up.
Paul?
Paul, surely it's got to be. See if Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart don't get this appointment right. Surely their jobs must go in line, because from what I'm kind of reading through rumours and everything else, Kavanagh was ready to go against and chop Russell Martin weeks ago.
I read that this morning.
Thelwell talked about it.
I read it.
As well as that, he's mentioned it in your show earlier, Thelwell bringing in his son and all that kind of hullabaloo. They two guys are getting paid a handsome salary by the owners to look after the club. Barry, you worked under Patrick Stewart, and I know you can't maybe go into details and stuff like that, but what's...
I had a good relationship. Listen, I'll be honest with you. The relationship that I had with Patrick for the 3 month was good. He let me go on with my work. He never interfered. He would come down and see us after the game just to make sure everything was all right, whether that was a win, draw or a loss. But I've got to just give you my honest opinion on him, and I got on with him fine. I had a good relationship with him.
Thanks, Paul. Here's George, a Rangers fan on the line. Hi, George.
How you doing, boys? All right?
Yeah, good. Thanks, George. What do you feel about the news? Russell Martin is gone.
It's a sad day when you come on a radio station and saying you're absolutely delighted somebody's lost a job. But I go to that point, Paul. It should have happened weeks ago, and I kind of spoke to Barry a while ago and said, look, it was probably my last choice. We'll give him the chance. It just wasn't working. I think I just hope that when Barry done the job last year, the board had the decency to phone him up. So I've still got his phone number. Hopefully, phone him. Folk will probably think I'm a Barry Ferguson cheerleader here, right? But it is what it is. I'm saying it how it is. Barry probably wouldn't have been the guy who would have said, oh, that's the boy I want, because he hadn't done much in the game for as manager. He came in and done a great job. Let's give the guy the job. Then he come in and say, look, we'll give it until Muscat Friday, or give it until Christmas, we'll give it till then. You've got to come in and give the guy the job, give him his place, and turn around and say, there's the range, you take it. This is the club, the team has been built. We'll give you a bit of money in January, and let's see what we can go on ahead. Because coming saying to him, like somebody said there, wait till Muscat's coming, that's not the answer. We need somebody to come into the club that knows the club now. And I ken Muscat played with the club, but he's coming from a different country. He'll know much about how far down the club's actually fell. Whereas Barry could go in there and he could actually get it working again.
Barry, could you do something with that team? There's a question. I'll come back to you in a second, George.
Yeah, I look at the team, but I know Andy says it's not a great squad. There is good players there. Now, I've worked with a number of those players. I don't know any of the new players, I'll be honest with you. I know of them. I don't know them personally. I do think there is a nucleus here, a good group of players there. There's no doubt.
People like
Bielski, they're on their backside at this moment in time. They're struggling. You can see that in the games, Paul. You go back to Thursday night, first half, nowhere near it. Second half was better, but that's when it's easy to play, when you're 2-0 down. Yesterday's game was tough. That was a tough watch. And people like Miovski, whom you always said on here at Aberdeen, he's not the player he was then. He can come back to it, but yeah, he scored yesterday, but he doesn't get enough service in the box. Andy will tell you better. Yeah. Andy was a striker, and you need to get service into the box. I mean, I thought it was a great goal he scored. A great ball in. You're inside the 6-yard box. Yeah. It's exactly what you want. Aye. Yeah. It wasn't a shot at goal. It was a clever pass into a dangerous area, and you found a striker who just wanted to finish one touch. You need service, and there's not enough service into the box. His hold-up play wasn't good enough yesterday at times, but listen, he does the hardest thing. Great ball for Cornelius. They're the best goals for a striker to score inside the 6-yard box, but you need more of that. What do you do with Chermiti? I don't see what you have paid for the 8 million. I don't see why you play Mikey Moore when you've got someone like Finlay Curtis, who he struck me as a young lad who had an eye for a goal in the early part of the season. And Mikey Moore's one of Tottenham's reserves. He's maybe got a big reputation, but I couldn't believe he came out for the second half. I thought his first half was awful. Every time the ball came to him, he lost it or he gave it away. Barry? Mikey Moore, for example. Yeah, he's one you can see. Look, he's 18, and you don't want to go too hard on him. But look, he's going through a tough stage at this moment in time. I don't know the contract situation, whether he has to play a certain amount of minutes. Because some players, when you get them in loan, have that inserted into their contracts. Right. You can't have a 17, 18-year-old guaranteed certain minutes. You just, if you do,
I think it's a poor contract for anyone at that age,
especially with everything that's going on at the club.
Yeah,
he's come from the reserves at Tottenham to first team at Rangers at a time when the fans have been so unhappy.
I get it. That type of thing happens. He's got to get minutes. He's got to get so many games. But
that'll definitely been the contract.
George,
but young Finlay, he wasn't in the squad yesterday.
Why? Do we know?
I don't know whether it's maybe he's picked up a knock or whatever. But young Finlay certainly this year, when he's been called upon, it certainly showed he's more than capable of playing at Rangers. I mean, I had him last year for 3 months. I never played him that often, but one thing I do know about the young lad is he's got a brilliant attitude, and there's certainly a player in there.
George, you're back on.
What Barry was saying earlier about him, I mean, it doesn't take much to baffle me, but my God, that baffles me. How that young lad that can come on here and come up here and get so many minutes, and young Finlay Curtis Canny, they play the young boy Bailey Rice at left back. I mean, Barry said it a while ago about us being posh about Scottish players. I remember Alex McLeish bringing in Gavin Ray, Ian Murray and Big Marvin Andrews and done a fantastic job for us. Absolutely brilliant job for us. We need to start doing that again. Again, Barry spoke about the Hertz players and boys like that. There's people in our league that can do a better job than they guys. And that, by the way, I'm not saying the boy Mikey Moore, because I'm sure he will be a star one day. But he's just not ready yet. He's not ready for Scottish football, and that's the bottom line.
George, what does success look like for you then? I mean, the title looks unlikely. I guess I'm thinking you've got Celtic in 3 weeks' time? Cup semi-final.
But the thing is, Paul, I mean, folks got to think I need looked up for saying this, but Celtic are in great shape now either. So if we get this change right now, there's a chance we can actually get our season back on track. Hertz are running away with it now, as Barry says, they're running away with it. But if we get a half decent manager in there and say to the guys, look, go and just go and play football. See all this sticking to the same thing, know what to change things. Just go and play football and start getting some results. And then see if we start playing a half decent bit of football after that, fair enough. But I don't think the league's away yet, Paul. And I can folk have got to give him a straight jacket, but I don't think it is away yet.
Yeah, some of the Celtic fans are meeting the club hierarchy, the chief exec Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay, the finance director. You're right. Both camps have not been happy. The Rangers fans will be feeling happier now that Russell Martin's gone. Celtic, they're not firing in the way you would expect because they've not invested well over the summer.
No, a really poor transfer window, but they still had a group of players that knew how to deliver. It hasn't been the best. They've been up and down. It wasn't the best at the weekend, but again, they get the 3 points. Hearts aren't running away with it. They've started well. And if you want to win a league, you look at the table come January, February, before you start thinking about a run in. Everyone just now is jockeying for position. I can't see Rangers making up the amount of points that they're behind just now, and Celtic dropping as many points. And I'm saying that, and I agree with you. Celtic aren't anywhere near their best.
Plenty more to come.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Try the new and improved Whopper, bursting with flavour and juicier than ever.
Let's go! How tough can this be? Come on, we've had 5 voices. 3 of them have gone with our friends at Vision Scotland. A clip of 5 mystery footballers, all of whom played here in Scotland. Each voice, when first identified, was worth £100. And if Martin in Cumbernauld gets all 5 right in the correct order, he'll get £2,500 tonight. Martin, good evening.
Good evening, Paul.
How are you?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Are you happy at the weekend? Did your team win? Did they draw or lose? Or
I'm a Celtic supporter, so they've been kind of stuttering of late.
Yeah. But
it's good that the last minute winner thing is kind of back to try to get back in business.
It's kind of more Celtic, isn't it? Getting a late goal, go all the way. Right, we'll talk Celtic and more in a moment or two. Martin, here are the 5 voices.
The Go Radio Football Show.
So, what do you think? Have you been listening in for a few weeks? Voice number 1.
It's been a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, I know. Barry's watching, so too is Andy Walker. Right, voice number 1.
Okay, Lawrence Shankland.
Voice number 2.
Michael Moles.
Voice number 3.
Paul McStay.
Former Celtic captain, of course, a legend. Scotland as well. Voice number 4.
Pierre Van Hooijdonk.
Scored the winner in the 1995 Cup final against Airdrie. Sorry, Andy.
He's got to be a winner.
Yeah.
No.
That sounds
You
good.
think so? And voice number 5.
I like that.
Arthur Newman.
I can tell you.
I think
yes.
I know 4.
Do you? Yeah. Right, okay.
I think I've got 4.
I'm going to tell you, Martin, you've got 4 out of 5. You've won £100. It is indeed the maestro himself is voice number 3, Paul McStay.
Brilliant. Okay.
The hat
Thank you.
himself.
Yeah. And Barry thinks he knows number 4. You know, you went far away, so it's somebody not from these shores who came in, but maybe playing at the other side.
Well,
other
with
end of
your
the park,
clues
though.
recently,
Yeah,
that was
right.
a really good guess. So well done getting the fourth
And
one.
he's just gave another clue there.
I have. Other end of the pitch. He'd be a defender. I
Paul,
would say.
my research for Van Hooijdonk, I found an old interview for you. Interviewed him in the 90s, and I thought he sounds like Van Hooijdonk. But
Was that the one at Pittodrie? It's his first game, right? So I'm on Scott Sport with Jim White and Alec McLeish. Okay, so I'm trackside. So I'm 5'7" on a good day, and Pierre's like 6'10". No, he's 6'5" or something. Okay, so
Would you have a pair of high heels
that's
on?
enough. Thank you. I'm fading down. Go back to Rangers and give us peace here and go radio. I mean that in the best possible way. Right. So I'm interviewing Pierre Van Hooijdonk and Whitey. I mean, he's a nightmare. He goes, yeah, but Paul there with Shearer with Pierre Van Hooijdonk. Bit of a height difference there, isn't there? Alec McLeish, quick as a flash, goes, aye, but remember, Pierre's got studs on. He's already 6'5". Whitey is listening to me. Actually, I spoke earlier on to see if he knew who it was going to be. So, listen, you were one voice away from £2,500. Yeah. But at least it's £100.
yes, I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Martin, what are you thinking about your club? And what are you thinking about Rangers then? Russell Martin, my goodness, he's had a really tough time. I mean, I see this at Tory MSP. Did you see this today? I hesitate to give him... I mean, I think it's a shocker. No more vegans, no more Buddhists or Green Party members, please. Come on, Murdo Fraser.
Well,
I mean, he's entitled to an opinion, but...
He's got quite a track record for saying inappropriate things, and that's just the latest one, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think that brings credit in anyone.
No.
Sure.
But I don't think Martin should have survived much longer, so it was a right decision to...
No. Who would you fear most then as Rangers manager? If you fear...
I was talking to my friend about today, and I think maybe Billy Davis might get approached. I think the McInnes ship has sailed. But I don't know. Who would want the job? Right. You know.
And what about your own club then? Are they going to sort out the issue? Well, the situation. Are they going to find out who was the person who apparently, if it's true, briefed against the manager? And if that's not true, then what about the manager? Because this is going to come up again in January. You know, is Brendan Rodgers going to stay? What would you do if you were in charge at Celtic?
I think the board are tone deaf just now, issuing these multi-paragraph statements. It was just, I think it was, I counted 17 paragraphs in the lengthy statement about the transfer business. If they can get themselves through to the new year, to the transfer window, and do the right kind of business, then it'll all come good. But they've got a semi-final, as you said to your previous caller, to negotiate in 3 weeks' time. The squad is definitely weaker, no doubt about that. But if they can just do more of what they did at the weekend there and just dig in and get the results, then it'll be fine. I don't see Hearts' challenge sustaining, to be honest. But we need to see how it looks in January, February.
This is what Brendan Rodgers said today about your winner yesterday, Dyson Maeda.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Listen, he's been playing on the right-hand side for us, and that's an issue because it's not his favourite. You know, he'd prefer to play on the left or like he does through the middle. So he's doing a job for us there because of the gap that we have on that side. But you see, as soon as he comes over, it's a different energy that he has and a different pressing mentality. So yeah, but for him, it's so big. What he's given this club over 4 years, and that's why I will never ever speak anything other than praise for this guy. This is a guy that has given his heart and his soul to this football club and continues to do that. And today I'm so pleased for him and for his family that he gets that feeling again, scoring a winning goal and all the supporters singing his name, which is great for him.
Martin, do you agree with the manager?
Yes, I do. I think there's a few people questioning his professionalism of late, but I don't think that's appropriate. He's paid to do a job. He does a job. If he's form dips, he's form dips. If he wants to be somewhere else, let him go in January. But I don't think you can question his commitment when he's on the pitch.
No. Andy, you heard the manager. Yeah. He's given everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's the utmost professional. But you talk about him preferring to play on the right or the left through the middle. He'd prefer to be playing in another country. because he didn't get the move that he wanted. But I can understand his frustration and disappointment for him and for his family when it was taken away from him at the last moment. But I think he will get his focus back, and I think he will, get that level of professionalism that will see him contribute to goals, whether that's scoring or making them.
Barry, the next.
I can understand his disappointment, but you've got to get over that.
Yeah, sure.
After a week or two,
he's getting big wages to play for Celtic.
At the end of the day, look, I'm sure he will get his move. I think he can go and play down in the Premier League, no problem. But look, the move's not happened. You go over that disappointment and just start getting back playing well for the team that pays your salary.
Barry, you must think back just that few months ago when you went to Celtic Park. You were was it 2 up, then went to 2-2. Celtic back in top, and the bookies were probably thinking if it's anyone it will be Celtic, and then up popped Eagleman, and you got that win there.
I spoke to you about this. I was close up. Obviously, it's different when you're in the stands, but you're in the touchline, and guys like Maeda, he stood out like a sore thumb. It was just wasn't his quality, just his work ethic. Andy, he was just the dirty side of the game. That's what when I looked and I thought, going forward, he's a real danger. But as a team player and doing that dirty side of the game, he was great because he played through the middle in that game, and then he went out to the left side. But he was a good player. Obviously disappointed for not getting the move, because I'm sure it would have been life changing for him. But sometimes it doesn't happen. You just need to bite the bullet and go on with it.
And Martin, can I just ask you finally about Ange Postecoglou? My goodness, they're giving him stick already in England. They're obsessed with it. He's only been there 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, they've picked up in his body language how he's looking at his feet all the time, and he's not a great interviewee, I don't think, anyway. But they're just waiting for him to fail, I think.
But he always did. He did that here as well, didn't he? I mean, he doesn't really look at you if you're being interviewed. He was always that way, I think.
Yeah, and I think they're just waiting for him to fail down there, to be honest. He didn't get an easy ride at Spurs from the media there.
It's brutal management. You have to have it done in a few weeks. You have to be winning in a few weeks. You have to set the standard really high. And very little patience for those who might be going through a hard time because they've got a string of injuries, or they're just trying to, put the team in another, play in a different kind of fashion. My goodness, you don't get an awful lot of time. And of course, we all know they're very handsomely paid and all the rest of it. But like the previous caller, it's never a pleasant thing seeing someone lose their job.
Martin, Andy, Barry, what would you say? Brendan Rodgers said yesterday we're nowhere near our levels, and it's kind of dull to watch at the moment. Martin, is there a magic switch that he's going to throw again and Celtic will start to play the way that they did last season?
No, I think just limp through to the new year and then do the right recruitment, and that means ins and outs, and then hopefully the magic formula will work. But they're just, the weekend there was a glimpse of what had gone previously, but nothing thus far before it.
We always compare Celtic with Rangers, and I think looking at this Celtic squad, they're absolutely not at their best. I think they're still capable of winning the league, and when I look at the group of players that Rangers have, I don't think they can compete for the title. And I think this new guy, whoever he is, he'll need to be very active, and he'll need to be very successful in the January window and next summer.
Rangers have issued a statement, so we're going to go to that in a moment or two. I know the news is coming in seconds, but I'm trying to see if there's anything major in it. But it's from Andrew Kavanagh, the chairman, and the vice chair, Parag Marat. Martin, thanks a million. We'll get the £100 to you. And let's hope.
Thanks very much, guys.
Let's hope we speak to you again. Thanks very much. Cheers, Martin. Thank you. Martin there winning £100. We'll give you more. Yep, we'll give you more. Julia, I'm fine actually. She's saying, what's your blood pressure there with the caller earlier on? Yeah, a rigorous, thoughtful recruitment. At the same time, they're saying under Patrick and Kevin's guidance, advancing detailed plans aligned with our long-term strategy and beginning the early stage of investment planning at Ibrox. Your focus will rightly be what's happening on the pitch. This work also matters. So they're talking about the foundations in the club. So I think they're backing there, Patrick Stewart, Kevin Thelwell. I'll tell you more after the news.
The Flame Grilled Whopper from Burger King. The most food-filling burger.
Is it though?
Is that?
Yes. A slightly better version of you.
I don't understand.
Just like the new Whopper that's juicier and tastier than ever before. Same, but hits different. That's my line now.
Oh, sorry.
Whopper never tasted so good. Order now on the Burger King app.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Try the new and improved Whopper, bursting with flavour and juicier than ever.
Let's go! Hour 2, Paul Cooney, Barry Ferguson and Andy Walker on the day when, 20 hours ago the news came out that Russell Martin has gone from Rangers, and a statement's come out in the last 10 minutes from the Rangers chairman Andrew Cavan and the vice chair Parag Marat. This is an open letter, they say, to supporters. Dear supporters, as you've seen by now, we're making a change at Rangers. We've parted ways with Russell Martin, Matt Gill and Mike Williamson, with thanks for their hard work. When we took over the club in the summer, we shared what we want to build for Rangers: to win trophies in Scotland and be able to compete at a high level in Europe. We know achieving these goals will take time, but our performances and results have not been good enough. We know you're frustrated. We are too. We did not get this right, and it's our responsibility to fix it and to get back on track. A rigorous, thoughtful recruitment process is already underway, and we are treating it with the urgency it deserves. The two of us, that's the chairman and the vice chairman, are deeply involved, and the evaluation will have our full attention until we're confident we have a leader with the character and the skill set to deliver results. That's the key part of it. Moving forward, they say we're fully confident in our players who possess the talent and determination to succeed. At the same time, a great deal of important work is progressing across the club, building out a stable leadership and football structure under Patrick and Kevin's guidance. That's Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell. Advancing detailed plans aligned with our long-term strategy and beginning the early stages of investment planning for Ibrox. Your focus will rightly be on what's happening on the pitch, but this other work matters too, and it will help lay the foundation for success in the future. And finally, change is never easy, but we are not deterred by hard work. In fact, we see a great opportunity ahead. The season is not over, and we have plenty to play for in all 4 competitions. Together, we are committed to delivering the performances and the results that you can be proud of. Your loyalty to the club, through thick and thin, is something we do not take for granted. And the final sentence, we see the effort and emotion you put into supporting Rangers. It drives us every day. We intend to earn your trust because we all share the same goal, restoring success to Rangers. Barry, what's your reaction?
Well, they've took ownership in making a decision, because obviously the manager, this has been ongoing for now, 3-4 weeks. So they've obviously took it upon them to make the decision. In terms of the players, I think the jury's still out in the players that have been brought in, Paul. We still need to see more, because there's been a fair bit of investment from the owners, and we need to see more from the players that have been brought in. So look, it's good they've come out 24 hours after they've made the decision, and they've explained the reasons why. And the good thing is they've started the process of bringing a new manager in already, because I think it's important that they do get a new manager in place by next week's home game against Dundee United, a week on Saturday.
Andy?
Well, if you continue on that same theme that Barry's talking about with regard to the players, when they say we're fully confident in our players who possess the talent and determination to succeed, I'm not convinced you'll find many Rangers supporters just now who would share that view. Obviously Rangers can get better, but I just don't think this group of players are capable of challenging for the title.
Could you see many getting pass marks recently? I'm just Jack Butland's played well, hasn't he?
Listen, I think Jack Butland's been outstanding.
Yeah.
And I thought yesterday, that save from Brian Graham actually takes a deflection off the defender.
Back to his best.
Yeah.
He had a very difficult spell, as Barry will tell you, because he left him out of the team, but he was almost coming up with a mistake every week that was leading to a goal. But at times this season he's been back to his best.
You've seen that. The thing I liked about that incident with Jack, in terms of me taking him out the team, taking him out the firing line, I seen how much it hurt him, and it was a tough decision. But you seen the aftermath, him growing back into the goalkeeper that I knew he was, and that's the reason why he come back in towards the end of the season. And then I think this season he's been exceptional, because he is an exceptional goalkeeper.
It was a big call, and I don't think everyone agreed with you, even the backroom staff, Barry, but I think it was proved to be correct, because Jack, he was uncharacteristically making mistakes, and he's back.
Yeah, and it was
best.
it's like any player, Paul, you do go through times like that in your career. I went through bad stages, I'm sure Andy has as well. I just thought it was...
I made a career out of it, but
yeah, I just thought it was the right decision at that time, but my intention was always to bring him back in. And as I said, Paul, if you're asking me right now, this early in the season, Jack Butland's been Rangers' best player.
I'm just looking at the statement then, so because the Rangers fans were complaining about Russell Martin, but they also had the target thing, which I didn't like, but they were in their sights was Patrick Stewart and also Kevin Thelwell. So I wonder what they're going to feel about the statement tonight. I don't think they expected to know who the new manager is tonight, but it's not just the manager that they were having a go at, because the process just 3 or 4 months ago involved them and also the chap from the 49ers, Greta Steinsson. So Rangers fans are not, these days, people are not daft. They want what's best for the club. No doubt the owners do too. I wonder who's advising the owners. I mean, Patrick Stewart's been there since early last December. It's hard to judge with a CEO. That would be about the bottom line. How are the figures overall? Director of football has to work well with the manager. And for whatever reason, they haven't called it right. So can you trust them to make the right call this time? Because it's a multi-million-pound call.
Yeah, you have to, because they've already made a call and they're going to do it again. Will they take advice in a different way? I'm not sure they will. I mean, what were the words they used? A thoughtful process. I mean, everyone's process in making a change at that type of level has got to be thoughtful. It's got to be thorough. It's a huge job, and you would imagine there's a huge attraction, despite what's happened in the last 4 years to 4 managers who've all been binned quite quickly. There'll be a million managers out there, I think, who would just love to have a crack at that job.
I totally agree with Andy. I think it's a job that so many people will be desperate for, even though it's been a tough start, and even though some of the signings at this moment in time, there's still a question mark beside them. I still think it's such a brilliant job to get.
Kevin's on the line, a Celtic fan. Hi, Kevin, good evening.
How you doing, boys? You all right?
Yeah,
hi, Kevin.
Pretty
doing,
good,
Kevin?
thank you. What are you feeling?
Well, Barry, I hope it's not you that temporarily gets the job again, because I don't want to have to temporarily put you on my dartboard again, mate. That's what I like you.
I think you'll be safe there.
His phone's pinging non-stop. That's what I'm going to tell you, honestly. He's got it in silent, and I don't know what it is, what they're saying. I don't know who it is. I was half watching for the call last night.
I'm just finding out what I'm getting for my dinner.
All right, what is it?
That's what it is.
Yeah, we'll find out in a minute.
Stovies.
Kevin. Stovies, right? You were hardly home for dinner when you were running Rangers, were you? Yeah. He lost, what, half a stone?
Barry, there'll be another steak. It's Barry. It'll be one of the other movie steaks that he likes.
What's it? Oh, he'll be saying, is that a hint? He likes meat. He's not vegan. It's Barry. He's, no. Do you know the papers do that, don't they? Hint from Barry. He likes... Kevin, what about your own club? There's the meeting tonight of the supporters amalgam of... Yeah.
That's going ahead. I just hope that it's constructive. I'm sure everybody will behave themselves, but I think the guys at the top, the Celtic Association, the board need to be asked the hard questions, and they need to also not let them off the hook, first of all, because the statement that came out the last time, I think everybody's in agreement. The statement was a shambles.
Yeah.
Bringing up the financial fair play when Celtic are sitting at 43% and you're allowed to be up to 70%. It's just, I don't know who added that into the statement, but it's just the fans for ideas. But as long as everything's sensible, communicated well, and the board are asked the difficult questions, I just hope that the guys that are attending the meeting, the board members, are going to answer the question. Because we're still feeling the effects for this summer transfer window, because of that performance I gave at the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of similar, and I don't want to knock the guy, because I actually really liked him and I thought he did a decent job, but it's kind of almost come back to the Ronnie Deila era, where the football was quite drab, slow, no exciting, and it's kind of went back to that again at the weekend. Apart from the last 15-20 minutes, I thought we were excellent. But something all of this is their fault. Yes, the manager needs to take a wee bit of the blame as well. I feel the players need a bit of a shake, of course, today. If you've not got your big summer move, as Barry says, you're going to be disappointed. That should affect you maybe for 7-10 days. It should affect you throughout training. But you need to give yourself a shake. At the end of the day, you've got a job today. You're picking up a wage, and you want to continue to impress managers that might want to sign you again in January.
Sure. And Kevin, what about the Braga performance with so much happening across the city? I mean, they're almost off the hook in that. It was shocking.
The Braga performance was unacceptable. I mean, their keeper had a great game, and that was they probably suffered the worst refereeing decision of the season.
For sure.
But at the end of the day, we still didn't score. Yeah. So I know that going to chopped off. We still scored. Celtic should be beating teams. Celtic and Rangers, by the way. We should be beating teams like that 3-4-0 easy. There shouldn't even be a competition. So for us to lose that game 2-0 at Parkhead is shocking. Thank goodness we're not in the Champions League.
And listen to what you're saying, Kevin. Can you believe, you know, if I'd said that to you 3 months ago, 4 months at the end of last season, you'd be like, bring it on. And then you had the Kazakhstan team, you know. I mean, it's almost like you shot yourselves in the foot. There's no question.
The drop-off unit has been astronomical. I mean, that's the same. We're still in 2025, and the drop-off is off the charts.
So what can the board say tonight to the chief exec? What can he say to the fans that will make a difference? I mean, I don't know. Straight question. Andy, any thoughts? Apologise. Yeah,
apologise and admit their mistakes.
Okay.
And no give us the politicians' answers. Just like Kevin Felwell and that at the Rangers, they need to hold their hands up and say, we have made a big mistake here. And otherwise, the point of the meeting's pointless.
Andy?
I think you always want to be on the same page wherever you are at the club. And it's not the case at Celtic. You had a senior executive briefing against the manager, wanting them not to do well. There's no reason to believe that hasn't changed. No one knows who it is, but nothing has happened to whoever that individual was. Brendan Rodgers was quite vocal about it. He wanted him out. That doesn't excuse what's happening on the park, because it has been poor. But it was a dreadful window because Celtic didn't get their targets. They were nowhere near on it. They were nowhere near active enough, and they did some very last minute business. And you know, it might be that Iheanacho, he might be the guy that could be the top scorer in Scotland. He looks really lively. I think there's a bit more sharpness to come from him. And if he stays fit, he's the type of guy that could score heavily.
Stamatolopoulos got a couple of goals. It was 3-2, you know.
Kevin just flagged it up there, but obviously I wasn't on and Friday the goal that get this allowed. Wow.
I mean, Barry, what can that be?
I don't know. I watched it 10-15 times.
And
I can't see why it was this.
I know.
But even if the on-field referee said that's a handball, I'm chalking it off, that's what VAR's for, to correct a clear and obvious error. There's no handball there. Or if VAR made the decision, I've no idea what they're looking at. There must be a minuscule clip of the hand, but you just can't see it. And no one can convince you when you just throw up any angle you want. No one can convince you that there's a handball there.
I'm not saying it would have made a difference. Celtic maybe have got a point or maybe went on to win the game, no matter what. But the decision alone, honestly, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how they came to that decision that it's actually struck his arm.
It was a shocker.
We looked at it here, Paul.
Yeah.
And as soon as we saw the replay, we thought, because I remember I said, I wonder if that's his hand. And then we looked at the replay. Oh, no, it didn't. You look at it again. It absolutely didn't. So
why didn't the ref go and look at it? I mean, we'll never know.
I think they'll say it's a factual decision.
You would have thought Celtic would have kicked on, but they didn't. Here's the manager speaking last night, Kevin, after the 3-2 win. He said they're going to get better.
No, I think there's still such a long way to go. Still so early in the season. But I think even though we're not quite at our best as of yet, we've lost one game. We've lost one game all season, and during the week when we weren't so good in the game after the first 20 minutes. So the players have shown a lot of dig and a lot of determination whilst we try to find that, new players coming in, all the issues we had around the goals and everything else, we scored 3 goals today, and so I'm confident that the season, as we progress, we will find that confidence and fluidity. But whilst you are, and you're tested like today, you still have to win. You still have to win, and the players did that so well today.
Kevin?
Well, obviously we did win, and that is the big positive. The concern for me was the overall performance. Again, apart from the first 15-20 minutes, it just felt we're missing a spark. And like I've said it before, and I'm not going to come on and labour the fact, but it all comes from the midfield. I think actually in the wide areas we're not too bad apart from the right hand side. We need to find the right winger in January. I think defensively, I don't think there's many mistakes there, although Tony Ralston I think had a shocker. But I think we will get there. See, just two very quick points. His attitude is absolutely spot on. There's a viral video going about the new Iniacho standing waving his hand about, just going absolutely nuts towards the end of the game, and then when the game's over, just celebrating like mad, and it's excellent to see. And the second point, Marcelo Saracchi didn't have a great game on Saturday by any means. He played okay, but I think we need to sign that boy up. I think he has really been a big surprise. If you check all the socials, all the different fan media channels, Marcelo Saracchi and Iniacho, apart from Konecki, they're the top 2 names on everybody's lips. I think Saracchi's been absolutely fantastic.
Andy? I hear, I mean, I haven't been at any Celtic games, I've seen them on the telly, but I've heard good things about him, and you know, the problems that Kieran Tierney has with injuries in and out the team, building up his minutes, 60, 70, 80 minutes. I think it just shows you how important Greg Taylor was, how reliable Greg Taylor was. And I know he's gone now, and that's fine. I'm sure he's happy with his new life, but he was a really consistent performer for a long time for Celtic, and I think they miss him.
And Barry, the midfield of Celtic was, in recent years, has been the real engine room. They've moved the ball quickly. They've been so solid. They're not sparking the way they did.
No, they're not. But if you look at the group of midfielders that Brendan Rodgers has got, there's a lot of quality. In there again, he changed it at the weekend. It was Hitati, Callum McGregor's the one that's always going to play, and then he'll obviously be flexible with the rest of them. But it was Hitati and Luke McCowan on it. That was the middle 3, but there's good competition for places in there. There's a lot of good quality Celtic possess.
Lennon Miller was on the bench for Udinese. I don't think he was used, and yet he could have been at Celtic. And Kevin, I know people said, he could and should have been at Celtic. The deal was there to be done in January in the window. Early on, I think he thought he was going to go, but apparently the actual offer wasn't until late in the window. They left it late, as far as I know, and people wonder why.
Yeah, it seems they don't want to pay top dollar to any other club in Scotland. They maybe think there's a limit to what they would pay for anyone. But I'm just pleased for Lennon Miller. I think he's in a good setup. I think he'll become a much better player there.
And Lewis is on the bench as well.
Yeah, I've seen that. They won 4-0 and Lewis was on the bench. It's a game that they're expected to win. So
he's here. I saw him training today.
Yeah, plus he played midweek. They do change their team. There's a fair bit of rotation, and they're starting 11 Bologna.
Kevin, who's going to be the Rangers manager?
I actually don't know, and with all due respect, I'm not really I don't really care, to be honest.
Fair question, fair answer.
Just be honest, just be straight, Kevin.
As long as it's not with Barry, because Barry, see your hand on heart, mate. I think you're absolutely brilliant on this show, and I didn't really like you growing up because obviously you broke my heart many a time. But hopefully it's not you. But if you do get it, I'm still man enough to say wish you all the best.
Cheers. We need to get your hearing checked out there if you think he's that good. With our friends at Vision Scotland. Thank you so much, Kevin. Good call. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Try the new and improved Whopper, bursting with flavour and juicier than ever. Let's go!
This time tomorrow night, Mark Guidi will be here along with Craig Moore. Tomorrow evening.
Spoke to him Saturday.
Yeah.
He gave me a phone call on Saturday.
Yeah, I spoke to him earlier today, phoning round to see what we thought was maybe going to happen. Because, of course, he's friendly with you. He's friendly with Kevin Muscat.
No friend of mine.
That's Andy's wicked sense of humour. But everyone's tight-lipped. Barry's given nothing away. Craig Moore's the same.
I'm giving nothing away because I've got nothing to give away.
I know. I'm trying to build it up a little bit. So there were other games at the weekend as well. A lot of comments coming in from Rangers fans. I mean, it was time to go, and a lot of people are saying it was painful to watch and listen to Russell Martin with Luke Shanley, who probably did his first interview. Andy, I know you worked with him for many years, and it was his last one as well. He was asked, it's probably cruel to play any of them. I'm trying to think of the future, long-standing issues. He was asked, yeah.
To be fair,
sorry, Barry, on you go.
To be fair to Luke Shanley, I thought his questions were good questions.
And he kept going.
I think he does interviews really well. I obviously had to do one with Luke most weeks, and always found him a good guy, and the questions that he posed to you were always good ones.
Very straight, and he asked proper questions.
He does.
And it's difficult because you're talking about a man's livelihood here. Indeed. And I know that we can all guess what his salary is and all the rest of it, but you look back at what he has had to put up with over the last number of weeks, the level of abuse that he's taken before, during and after games. I hate seeing that for anyone. And I know that football management, absolutely brutal. And if you're not winning, you're out the door. No one's got any patience. And football can be really difficult sometimes for managers, for players. When you've got large groups of supporters who want success, they want winning teams, and they want it yesterday.
It must have been really tough for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, standing in the touchline, you hear everything. You do hear it. I had it myself when we had a couple of bad results, and it's no night. It's a lonely place when you're standing in that touchline and the fans are giving you, and rightly so, because the performances are no good enough and you're no winning games.
I think there's a difference, Barry, I think we can all accept booing. We're not happy with what you're doing or how the team's playing. We can all accept that. We're all big enough and ugly enough to take that. But when the abuse becomes really personal, as it was with Russell Martin, that's totally different. That was a line that was crossed very often, and it was really ugly.
And the danger is then some fans, and it's a minority, feel empowered. And I think it was younger people there, but we need to watch. It can't be a mob rule. The club had to be decisive, because it was difficult for the club as well, probably, because if Russell Martin said, right, I'm folding my cards, I'm going to go, there's no payout. But he's an employee, and I imagine it would be 7 figures. So I would imagine £1 million or so to him. The club had to pull the trigger first, but it's a lot of money, Barry, isn't it? The stakes are really high in football management.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, and if you go back over the course of the last 3 years, there's been a fair amount of pay-ups. You go back to Gio's time, you go Michael Beale, then you go to Philip Clement, and now Russell. The club have had to pay a fair amount of money out, which is no ideal in the scenario, but again, it comes down to results, and you could see it was affecting Russell. When you could see it in his interviews, and it was tough. I know he was trying to be as strong as possible, as you would do when you're doing interviews, but at some stage it does affect you.
Robin Zahn said the problem is that most of you, not us in general, Rangers fans, he was a big handsome guy, came into town, and some of the guys didn't like it. She was, I think, she's a Rangers fan, she was in town. She just sent it in from the city centre. I've never experienced such. They just weren't having him. Vitriol, against a person. So this was his last interview, and he said, "Look, I'm not going to give up."
No, I've never given anything for my life, and it's always gone pretty well for me. So no, not even come into the equation. I'm not in control of that. So I'll keep working with the players and everyone else and the staff, who I feel have been so good with us. Really, the staff, the players, especially in the last few weeks, have really good connection, good understanding, really hungry. And they just can't quite translate that into results at the moment. Confidence has been improving a lot. Today's a difficult pitch, different conditions. We're 1-0 up. We should go on then to score a second, and we don't, and it costs us. So, but there has been improvements. Maybe not in results, but performance a lot. But yeah, I know everyone just wants to win games.
And then he left by the side exit because some of the fans were there blockading the bus. They didn't want to leave. The players were held for a while, I think, Barry, inside.
You seen the coverage on TV. I think we were all watching the game on Sky, obviously, and you seen that the players were held back for a while, alongside Russell obviously having to leave in a separate car.
Never good to see. We might take one or two more calls, but there was a lot happening elsewhere at the weekend. So Rangers drawing 1-1 at Falkirk. Celtic 3-2 win over Motherwell. They went ahead through the Kelechi Iheanacho penalty, but then Stamatopoulos, Andy, a couple of goals for him, one of them a penalty.
I thought his first goal was brilliant. I mean, the cross in was terrific, but the way he got in front of Scales could maybe have had it, but he was in a great area just to head it into the net. I thought Motherwell were adventurous. I think too adventurous. The way they conceded the second goal. I mean, play out for the back if you want, but my goodness, that looks so bad when you give a goal away. Like, an absolute gift. And it actually gave Celtic the momentum. We heard a caller earlier talking about the last 15-20 minutes. Celtic played really well. They had the backing of the crowd who were aware of what was going on at Falkirk, and what a difference it would be just to get that win, and they managed it.
As Brendan Rodgers afterwards.
Well, the feelings, I'm so proud of the team. That was a very good game. Congratulations to Motherwell, because there's not so many teams will have the courage and the bravery to play and build the game up like they done, and we had to be really concentrated, focused, and but even then sometimes they were able to play through. But I think the players showed such a massive heart today, and whilst we're still searching for the fluidity and playing the game at the highest level of confidence, you still have to show the determination and the grit, and the players done that, and I feel they deserve to win the game, but you still have to do that. So a fantastic game, and obviously a great game to win.
You certainly do. Top of the table, Hearts after that late goal. Craig Halkett, Barry, is a player that I know you've come across and you like.
Yeah, and I liked the decision he made when he was younger.
What did he do?
Leaving Rangers to go to Livingston, and done a really good job, grew into a really good centre back, and then obviously Hearts took the opportunity. He's had a few injury issues, but now you see him this season, he's looking fit as a fiddle, and I've always liked Craig Halkett, and he come up trumps with the winner towards the end of the game, and that's a sign of a team that have got confidence. Wasn't it a great game? Weather conditions obviously playing a part in that, but you've got to give credit to Hearts. They kept going and they got that winner.
Because Hibs had a go earlier on, didn't they? Martin Boyle had the ball.
If you look at the Martin Boyle, he's got to do a bit better there, I would say. Martin Boyle, I would expect him to.
Just on Craig Halkett, I mean, a couple of years ago, just spoke to him. We were doing a game at Sky, and he'd scored at Ibrox. You know, I said, I met his dad. He said, he must have been so proud of Craig. He said, no, I gave him a right good slap, because he's a big Rangers fan. Didn't want his son to score at Ibrox. But I think Hearts are a better team with him starting, because I think they missed him last season. He had so many injuries for a while. It's just great to see him fitting well.
And what's your take on your old club Hibs? Because Thomas is asking from San Francisco. He was disappointed. He had a feeling you'd get at least a point. And could Martin Boyle have done better?
Well, I thought he was unlucky. He just tried to dink it over. But I mean, he set the bar.
Union. Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was a decent effort. But in general, I mean, you heard the anger from David Gray afterwards when he was talking about, unprofessional, not defending, last kick of the ball, switched off, fell asleep, all that stuff. And when you look at it overall, Hibs too are probably underachieving, because they've had too many draws. The team that finished third last season. And obviously losing to your biggest rivals, it's such a sore one to take.
We had a big West of Scotland derby, as we know. Kilmarnock against St Mirren. Hearts top of the table on 19, Celtic on 17, Kilmarnock on 10, which, Andy, is remarkable given the start that they had. That's their second win, and a big one.
I had a lot of people say, Kilmarnock will really struggle this season. They've lost Derek McInnes, they've put in Stuart Kettlewell. He didn't do all that. They didn't like what he did at Motherwell, but that's a couple of weeks now where they've gone to Tannadice and won, I think, against the odds. And I think a lot of people probably fancied St Mirren. They won there earlier this season in the League Cup, but Kilmarnock have turned them over, and as you say, sitting in a very comfortable position in the league.
Watson and Dackers, who did well with the header. What do you make of Kelly now under Stuart Kettlewell?
They're starting to motor a bit. A tough start to the season, but you've got to give Stuart Kettlewell and the players huge credit. That's a brilliant result for them, because if you ask me my opinion, I would have fancied St Mirren to go there and just edge it. It's always a tough game going to Rugby Park, but Kilmarnock deserved it, and young Watson getting a goal, he's impressing every single time Kilmarnock play.
The goal, I mean, he scored it from a few yards out.
What about the desire, Andy?
But the run to get there, I mean, he was at full sprint for about 30 yards, and they're the goals you love to see someone getting a bit of joy out of, because they're actually thinking, I could go on the, he's going to have a shot at my teammate, I could go on the end of a potential rebound. He's thinking a few seconds in front, and sure enough it happens, and he gets his reward. It's a great goal.
Yeah, I love it. It's just sheer desire. You can't buy that. You can't buy that. And as I said to you,
well, you can, but it'll cost you a bit.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. But he's
I think he might
he's certainly listen. He's certainly standing out now for Kilmarnock. I know Kilmarnock fans will know, like me saying this, but I think they'll struggle to hold on to him.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. Dundee United and Livy 1-1. I would think Jim Goodwin would probably be disappointed, but I know they bounced back to equalise the Scott Pittman goal. 1-1.
Yeah, listen, you've got to give again, like David Martindale and Livingston coming up via the playoffs. I thought last week against Rangers, certainly the first 10 minutes they started really well. Rangers controlled it. I thought the second half they were really good, and they put Rangers under a bit of pressure. They're ones that I thought maybe have struggled, but again, you've got to give the manager and the coaching staff and the players credit, because they've come up. He's made a lot of new signings as well. They've had a really solid start to the season.
Carestez getting the equaliser there for United.
Yeah, I look at the table, and I do think Aberdeen will get their act together and start to put a run of games together that would, take them away from the bottom. And it's then up to the likes of Dundee, Falkirk, Livy. I think they're the three. Any two from those three, I think will finish in the bottom two spots.
It's been a massive 3 or 4 days for the manager Jimmy Thelin, because he couldn't buy a goal, could he, in the league? And then he got the goals. I know they lost the other night 3-2.
Yeah, and had they lost at the weekend here against the Dundee side, not only have they won it, they've won it convincingly. And I know that they haven't been scoring any goals, but to get a 4-0 win, to show a bit of energy, maybe it was also a time for the players to show that they wanted to take a bit of pressure off the manager and win. They didn't just win, they won comfortably, and that's a good sign.
What about Jesper Karlsson being described as the super Swede, Barry? As you know, they did pay 10 million, they being Bologna, for him, so he's been out the team there, but he's obviously got something. You're beginning to see it.
Yeah, but you just mentioned there, Bologna paid £10 million for him.
Yeah.
And for him to find his way to Aberdeen, I think it's been a decent signing. No seen too much, but they were desperate for that. They made 5 changes on Saturday. I think he had his eye on the game yesterday,
I think so,
rather than Thursday night. Yeah, because I think he knew that he had to get that 3 points, but they blew Dundee away.
He did. He found his way to Aberdeen. He flew into Dice Airport, and then they picked him up, Barry. As you well know in football management, you'd be around there in the chauffeur-driven car, which is the life of people at the top in football. I'm just watching the car park, but his own car is there just now. A lot of Rangers fans still going on saying, look, are they going to get it right this time? It is so important that Rangers make the right decision. We mentioned the statement at 6 o'clock. They're thoughtful. They're going.
But then I think when you do make the decision, I think we'll all ask Barry. Yeah, and I'm sure Barry, whoever it is, Barry will say, it seems like a good appointment. I think when you understand someone who's taken a job, you look at their credentials, what have they done? It's very rare you think, that job's too big for him. So you do think it'll work out, but pressure does strange things to individuals. Bad results, how you handle it, how you try and get your message across to your players. I like players like David Watson, who will give you absolutely everything every week. You listen to Brendan Rodgers, he talks about Dyson Maeda, he gives you everything every week. That just should be a very basic, and I don't think you get that every week with Rangers players. They just look as though sometimes they don't care, and it's the worst thing you can throw at any player.
Billy's been on a Rangers fan saying, from the statement I heard you say, Paul, change is never easy. This is the chairman and the vice chairman, but we're not deterred by hard work. In fact, we see a great opportunity ahead. He said some of the players looked as though they were deterred by hard work. They haven't worked hard enough. They didn't run the way, for example, David Watson did that you mentioned at the weekend.
That's got to be a given, in my opinion, Paul. It's got to be. Listen, we can all have poor performances, no be at the top of our game, but one thing you have to do is be able to run about the pitch and give it everything you've got, and that is a concern at times for Rangers over the course of this season.
In the Championship, we'll be back on the Rangers story shortly, and also a bit more on Celtic, who've got a meeting tonight, the chief exec meeting. It's a number of fans groups who've come together who are unhappy with what's happening. In the Championship, St Johnstone dropping points at the weekend, which is unusual. 0-0 to your old team, Ayr United.
Yeah, Ayr have taken a bit of time to get going. I know that they won their first game last week, I think, against Dunfermline. But yes, St Johnstone look as though they've got the measure of pretty much every team in that division, and I think they might go up as runaway winners. It just all depends on who's boxing away for those playoff spots.
Barry, you're still confident, St Johnstone?
Yeah, I think they're far too strong, Paul. I think he's got a good squad there. He's made some good signings over the summer, and I called it at the start of the season. I think they'll be far too strong for everybody.
What about the Jags? The Harry Rags 1-1 with Arbroath.
That's a surprising result,
isn't it?
Yeah, I fancied Partick Thistle to win that one pretty convincingly. Arbroath part-time, but they always spring a surprise result, and I think that one was a surprise for everyone.
Especially when Mark Wilson would look at it and see what happened at St Johnstone, we'd think that's 2 points dropped.
Yep, exactly. You've just worded it perfectly. 2 points dropped.
That's the first. St Johnstone 23 points. Partick Thistle on 17 points. What about Airdrie? Losing to Morton, Andy, just looking at some of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, Airdrie are adrift. I mean, they're bottom of the league on 3 points. The big surprise, I'm sure, to everyone, Ross County, they've changed the manager. Tony Dock's gone in there, only on 7 points. And when you look at it, 16 adrift of St Johnstone after 9 games. Yeah. It's remarkable that the gap is that big so quickly. But I think they are maybe one team who are in the bottom half of that league. I think they are one team who are capable of putting together a long unbeaten run. They might get involved in the playoffs.
Yeah, you would think Tony Dock will take them up the table. In Dunfermline and Queen's Park, 0-0. So that's it there. I see the Ackies are top of the first division.
Good result at the weekend.
Yeah.
What was it, 3-1 against Cali Thistle? John Rankin's starting to get them Morton a wee bit. Do you know what I'm just thinking about there? See if you're a manager and you have to say to a player, I need you to run about a bit more. That's a problem,
isn't it?
Oh, it's a terrible problem. You can criticise me for my ability all you want, but you'll never criticise me for not running around, putting an effort in. That's, as Barry said earlier, it's just a given. That's what you expect.
I was just playing in my mind there. And I was thinking about
I think it is. Is it the way that we're educating young people, the way society is now? That is, maybe don't test them too much. I can't believe. I remember a few years ago you told me that the Ready, I Ready, and the Rangers sign, it wasn't there. I think at the training academy at one point. Maybe so that you don't want to put too much pressure. I reckon if you're at Rangers, you'd be proud to be there.
You need to be brought up with that and learn to live with the pressure. Listen, it's tough. Don't get us wrong, it's tough at times, but if you want to go and you want to play at a club like Rangers, you need to play under pressure every single game you play in.
You need to win. Don't need to tell you that. Same with you, Andy. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Save big with the £6.49 Kansas Barbecue King Box, featuring a barbecue stacker burger, fries, Kansas barbecue chicken fries or onion rings, and a drink. Exclusively on the app.
Let's go! What time was that you were on?
So I was on this morning. I heard Joe at 6 a.m. with the news. We're on live from the Gorbals, and I was in just a little bit later. What's your point, Colin?
No, I'm just
I was just watching. I was waiting to see if there was any news on anyone that I know who might be the new Rangers manager, but no word so far. And the statement came out, about an hour ago from the chairman and the vice chairman.
What do you think, Barry? Do you think it will be done in the next
Yeah, I think
2 or 3 days, or do you think it'll drag out?
Good question.
Yeah, I think it'll be done over the weekend.
Yeah.
For the first training session leading up to the Dundee United game. I think they need to get in and get it done as quickly as possible, Paul. I know it's easy to say that, but I think it's important that they do. And I know there's a lot of thinking and a lot of talks need to go on, but they need to have them in place by next week.
I'm just wondering, Barry, the way that it was going over the last number of weeks, surely just being a professional, whatever role that you're in at the club, you think, if this doesn't work out, who do we turn to? And maybe that thought process was in your mind a number of weeks ago, and now that you have pulled the trigger, you
would have one or two in mind that you would think, if it doesn't go according to plan with Russell, which unfortunately it hasn't, because obviously he lost his job yesterday, they would have one or two guys who they would think, fancy them.
I'm going to dig into that in a moment or two, but Andy, this weekend you and others are doing a great thing for charity to do with MND.
Well, I know you do a lot of great things with the Kilt Walk, Paul, and I'm taking part in the Derby Rimmer Motor Neuron Disease Foundation and the My Name's Doddy Motor Neuron Disease Foundation. I'm just one of a number of people that are walking from Motherwell to Murrayfield, and a lot of the rugby lads will join in with us as we get to Edinburgh towards Murrayfield. And I was struck by that awful news this morning. The World Cup winner, the Rugby World Cup winner from England, Lewis Moody, who has contracted the disease. I think he's 47. And obviously as footballers, I remember Jimmy Johnston, Fernando Rickson, Mario Zalukas, David Hagan, amongst others who have suffered. And we're just trying to raise some money to try and find a cure. And I know that I would just like to say a big thank you to Barry, because I asked him to put together just a short video wishing everyone the best who was taking part in the walk, which he did, and it was so well received. Peter Grant did the same thing, and John McGinn, Andy Robertson, Brian Irvin, who used to play with Aberdeen, they've also chipped in with some lovely video messages. Caroline Weir gave a lovely video message today. So it's great to see so much support, and I've had a lot of donations from family and friends who are just dead keen to try and help. I didn't know any of these people who contracted this awful disease, but I know what it's like to be part of a team, and I think this team, the motor neuron disease community, if you like, they need a bit of help, and I'm only too happy to pitch in and do what I can. So I think over the 150 miles, I'm going to do about 12 legs. Right. So I'm going to do about 50 miles, maybe a bit more.
Maybe during the night.
Yeah, there's a couple where you kick off at 2 a.m, and it's right through Friday starting at Motherwell, Sunday ending at Murrayfield, and then I'll have a cold beer.
Good, you'll deserve it. People in football do so much good, Barry, don't they? I mean, we hear the other side of football and we go on about things, but my goodness.
Everybody gets together. But what Andy's doing is fantastic. When he asked me last week, look, I was more than happy to do it. I think it's a brilliant cause, and I hope everybody has a fantastic time and they raise a lot of money for a cause or a disease where my ex-teammate Andy just mentioned, where I seen him go through such a difficult time. And then you've seen Andy's mentioned about rugby players, and also out with that I do know a couple of people whose family members have suffered with it. So I was more than happy and delighted to do it.
And I think it's not just those who are suffering from the actual disease, it's the family members who their loved ones are struggling, and they're putting in so much time, so much effort into making their lives as comfortable as possible. You think of them too, and it's so difficult. So I'm looking forward to seeing some lovely people who are taking part in this walk and who have put so much effort into just getting it together. And Paul, you'll know most of all how much time and effort goes into organising, to making it all happen, and the organisation of it.
But the people who do it are the heroes. So thank you. We'll be sponsoring you for sure.
Very kind. Thank you.
Definitely. And we'll put something up if there's a website to
I'll
go to.
send you
whatever.
the link. Thank you.
Please do. Puts football into perspective, but there's so many different things.
It does, but you've made a good point. Football does come together.
It does.
When people
Big
like
time.
Andy, who's
Yeah.
an ex-footballer,
Sure.
are going to do things for brilliant causes. And if you ask any of them,
it's
I think,
funny. Barry, when I signed for Celtic, I mean, I came from Motherwell, 3 years there, and you do get involved in the local community, especially at Motherwell. But at Celtic, I mean, admittedly, it was the centenary year. So the amount of supporters functions, hospital visits, they were never. It was never coordinated so that you got a big spread in the paper. It was just Billy McNeil used to say to me, Andy, this is part of your job.
Yeah,
go out and meet the supporters, and whether you're going through a good spell or having a tricky moment, you go and meet them and you speak to them. And sometimes he would say to me, if we'd lost a game, and we used to park in the old car park and you had to walk up to the ground, and he would tell you that you would learn more after a defeat, because obviously you'd go through the supporters and you'd speak to some of them. Honestly, I never met any of the abuse that we're seeing now at different managers at different clubs. But I think it's great to speak to the supporters who, when you actually think about it, it's such a big part of their life, and you just want to. The only thing you can guarantee them, I'll give you everything I've got. So question my ability all you want, but I'll never be short of a run or two. And I thought that was always a good thing for Billy to say.
It is part of your job. It's a part of your job to go hospital visits, to see somebody. The kids that used to go to York Hull at the time.
Yeah.
And Rangers still do it.
Somebody suffering from a horrible disease like MND or cancer or whatever, but supporters clubs, that's part. It's never a chore. No. It's a delight to
and
go
they still do it, don't they?
Yeah, it's a delight to go. I used to really enjoy it, and the good thing about it as well, it makes people's days and lives.
It's amazing that just you being there, and it gives them a smile. It lifts their spirits. You talk about the game, we all want to talk about the football. We're here for 2 hours talking about the football, really. And it's great. People phone in, we talk about the football. It's marvellous.
We've only got 2 minutes left.
But it's when you walk out of places like that, you sit in your car and you think, that was well worth it.
And how
Loved
lucky
it.
you are. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So Barry, you reckon it's going to be fairly soon, so that the new coach, and you're hearing different things. Approaches have been made to Steven Gerrard, Kevin Muscat, the bookies. It's funny how somebody knows something, but nobody seems to know exactly who it's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting few days. But as I said, that I firmly believe it has to be done, and the manager has to be in place by a week on Saturday for the Dundee United game.
And it's being overseen by Andrew Kavanagh, who jetted in last week for the game, for the European game, didn't he? And he was there at the Livingston game, I think I'm right in saying, and Parag Marat, who of course is the chairman of Leeds United, because the buck stops with them and it's their money, the 49ers, and it's still with Patrick Stewart as the chief exec and Kevin Thelwell, director of football. They need to get it right, because it's only months ago we were saying this needs to be long term. It has to be. It can't be a manager in.
Well, you
123 days, shortest ever, Andy.
You said this about Russell Martin. This has to be the right one. They make the decision, but if you don't win games, you can't continue.
How did they get this one right? They didn't get the last one right.
Yeah, you'll do your homework. You'll identify your preferred candidate. You'll appoint him. I'm sure he'll have a good CV. He'll have a good number of names under his belt. He might even have won things, but he'll only be a success if you win games.
And turning the fans round, Barry. I mean, I heard you, time after time saying, just win your games. Win. This is Russell.
That's the only way you'll get the fans behind you. Yeah, a team that's fully heart and desire, showing all the attributes that you need to have when you're at a club like Rangers. But you have to, ultimately, Paul, it's all about winning games of football.
Do you have to wear the brogues, do you think? Listen, on that note, Barry, thank you so much. We'll be live from Hampden along with Mark Guidi. We can't have everything on Thursday night ahead of Scotland against Greece. That'll be
Mark
great.
Guidi there.
Demolishing the buffet. And that's just me. Andy, thanks a million. No doubt you'll be back soon.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Great. Mark will be here tomorrow night along with Craig Moore. Thanks so much to everyone who was on this evening. The news is next, then it's Jokel Day.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Try the new and improved Whopper, bursting with flavour and juicier than ever.
Let's go! The Flame Grilled Whopper from Burger King. The most food-filling burger.
Is it though?
Is that?
Yes. A slightly better version of you.
I don't understand.
Just like the new Whopper that's juicier and tastier than ever before. Same, but hits different. That's my line now.
Oh, sorry.
Whopper never tasted so good. Order now on the Burger King app.